There's a crazy story we're waking up to out of Atlanta. It was blowing up all weekend long. We talk about these Democrat cities and the crime, Carolyn. But in your backyard there in Atlanta, it sounds like there was brazen robbery going on at a Lululemon store. And 2 employees tried to do the right thing, and now they're in trouble and the criminals are not. Good morning.
Good morning.
Of course. Good morning. We're starting to hear this more and more where the Good Samaritans are coming under fire. So I want you to imagine this scenario. You're working in a store. 3 masked men come barging in, ransack the place, looting and stealing everything they can get their hands on. You pull out your cell phone, you video the crime, you call 911, and then you end up getting fired for it. That is exactly what happened to 2 Lululemon employees here in Metro Atlanta last month. So I want to show you the video. Ask yourself what you would do in this situation. Watch.
No, seriously. Get out. Get out. Get out. Video their car.
They swiped until they couldn't hold any more product and ran out the door.
So Jen Ferguson, who you just heard from there, she was the operations manager at the Peachtree Corners store. She confronted the robbers as they came in with masks and hoodies on while a fellow employee filmed. The women called police. They reported the crime, provided a description of the getaway vehicle, but the incident ended up costing them their jobs. Lululemon's policy is not to interfere with a robbery in progress or leave the store to pursue the suspects. Ferguson says instead they are to scan a QR code to report the incident internally.
You kind of clear a path for whatever they're going to do, and then after it's over, you scan a QR code.
So the company has a zero tolerance policy, and of course those women, they did violate the policy rules there by following the bad guys out of the store, but their actions may have actually ended up helping bring these guys to justice. Police say these same suspects struck again the very next day at a Lululemon store about 50 miles south in Peachtree City. They were arrested and charged with felony robbery. Now, of course, I reached out to Lululemon corporate, wanted to get a comment, and the company's PR firm responded this way, quote, "The safety and security of our employees and guests is always Lululemon's top priority, and we have policies and protocols in place to uphold a safe environment. We take thefts and vandalism very seriously, and our focus right now is supporting our educators as well as continuing to collaborate with local partners and law enforcement." But guys, the problem with that statement right there from Lululemon is that employees say this was not the first time a robbery like this has occurred. In fact, employees are saying at least 5 to 10 times in the months leading up to this, those same group of robbers targeted this store, and the crimes had never been reported to police. So it just kept happening. And then until finally this most recent time when the employees stepped in, they called 911. But how can the corporate, say, hey, we take this so seriously if they knew about these crimes occurring repeatedly, but yet they didn't put any preventative measures in place to stop it from happening again. And they didn't even call police. It's really shocking when you think about it in that context. This was a safety issue for these employees.
Absolutely. I'm thinking protect this woman was very brave to go and run after the suspect. I don't know. Most people would not do that. But at the same time, scan a QR code and we'll handle it internally, meaning we don't call the police.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. And you're absolutely right.
I'm so confused.
Because I will say there's a Lululemon store not far from where we work. And Karen and I have been there before a trip to get like a hoodie or something when we're going for a Trump rally. And so, God forbid, there's an incident. Again, I'm not perfect, but I'm a gentleman, and I would certainly rush to Karen's defense or your defense or a stranger in the store. So is the idea that now, because this is not just Lululemon, like I've seen video we've played from CVS and whatnot, where people just go in, grab everything. So are these companies now saying that rather than stepping in and saving a woman's life, for example, Go, Ed, go find a QR code at the front cashier and
we'll
scan
handle it internally.
And we'll hand it internally and talk to the educators, Carolyn, while meanwhile someone may be beaten.
Yeah, no, and a lot of companies are enacting this policy, and you can understand to some degree why. They say, hey, don't interfere. No amount of merchandise is worth losing your life for. Wait until they leave and then call police. So I get that part of it. But in this case, it kept happening. It happened repeatedly, right before closing time. So at dusk, right as it's getting dark, no guests are in the store, and there's women working in there. Crazy. It happened repeatedly, and the corporate didn't call police. This is a huge problem.